Almost all of us grow up being conditioned that some emotions are good and that they will benefit us. And by this I mean, if we are to demonstrate all the good emotions at all times as we are meant to, and are able to manage the other emotions that we have labeled as bad and unpleasant, then we will be rewarded in ways like people will like us, we will make friends, and more friends mean more connections, and more connections mean more opportunities will be available to you to explore, and additionally, this will most likely increase your societal status, and so on and so forth. As you can see, there's a lot to unpack here, but for now, let's move on, shall we? All of this is hinged on the type of attitude that you display to the outside world. You will be in a better position if you are able to present the best attitude, and this can only be possible if what we call the negative emotions are kept in check always. So let's not talk about emotions, because how we handle our emotions in general will determine what type of attitude we have and are likely to demonstrate to others, or to demonstrate to our outside world. And as we have already seen, that our survival as being part of a society or belonging to a society greatly depends on our general behavior and how others perceive us. Therefore, it really does matter, and this is a topic we're exploring today. Firstly, I want you to understand that in as much as we have been made to believe that as people we do have emotions that are bad and negative, and that these emotions in question should be avoided, dealt with as fast as possible, and we must do what we must to never openly demonstrate or display such emotions because of what others might think of us. Truth is, there are no bad emotions, only bad reactions to the emotions. And how I know this is, well, because God said so. The Bible does say, after God created everything, He was happy with His creation. Everything was good, and indeed everything is still good. And last I checked, you came with your emotions. That means everything about them is just as good as anything. How then did we end up concluding that some emotions need to be avoided because they're bad? It is a very normal reaction for people to dismiss or even hate things they do not understand, and more so if those things seem to be the cause of hurtful, painful circumstances in their lives. For instance, if a child demonstrates anger by, say, breaking something, and you as a parent disciplines the child by taking a toy away from them, if you do not give them an explanation as to why you have disciplined them, they will automatically assume that it was their anger that got them in trouble. It will not occur to them that it is the reaction to the emotion that is the cause of their discomfort, and not the emotion itself, because the reaction was only secondary, and because it is the anger they felt first. Therefore, being angry must be what's bad. Just to be clear, you, as a parent, did not take the toy away or discipline them because they were angry. You took the toy away because of how they reacted to the emotion, anger. It is the emotional reaction to their anger that you have sought to discipline them for, and not because of the emotion itself. Without this clarification to the child will automatically assume that being angry is what's wrong, and therefore Being angry will result in them experiencing unwanted experiences. And nobody, absolutely no one, wants that. They will then conceal the emotion whenever it rises up, so that even after they have grown up, they still don't know how to respond to the natural emotion of anger because they did not know how to. They were never told. And you wonder why we have so many people going through anger issues. When you are growing up, you are told by the grown-ups all around you that certain things are bad and you shouldn't do them. And when you still go around and experiment on these things, you learn very quickly. For instance, that fire does really burn. And your belief will naturally be reinforced this way. And by the way, this is how core beliefs are formed. This will be your own truth, so that everything in your reality will only manifest to prove this to be truth. That when you behave a certain way, there will be fitting consequences attached to those actions. You unconsciously assess which emotions cause you pain and which emotions brings you or aligns you with positive experiences. And you will automatically adjust as you grow. And this becomes your reality. You will immediately dismiss or even ignore certain emotions while you acknowledge and allow certain emotions to flow through you that you have approved best serve you. And what I mean is, they bring you positive, feel good experiences. And who doesn't want that all the time? I know I do. Emotions are like alerts. I want you to use the example of notifications you get on your phone. Your emotions can be likened to the notifications you get on your phone because they're there to notify you of what is going on around you. What is the latest update in your surroundings or your environment? Remember, every human being has an electromagnetic field surrounding them. So it is these electromagnetic fields that interact energetically first before you even interact with others physically. So your emotions are literally your first line of awareness. Let's look at some of the emotions that are very misunderstood. Let's start with anger. Why do we feel anger? Mostly, we will experience anger automatically if we believe that our boundaries have been crossed somehow and an injustice has been committed towards us, or we believe that we have been wronged either directly or indirectly. You will experience the emotion of anger as a way of your internal systems alerting you that something is wrong and an action must be taken. There is nothing wrong with the emotion at all. Nothing. It is just a neutral emotion, just like any other. Now, the issue starts when it comes to your reactions or where you decide to channel that anger towards. You alone will have the free will to choose. That is where free will comes in. You will have the free will to react positively or negatively because you alone will always have a choice either way. Countless people channel their anger towards positive or positivity or positive outcomes all the time. And others, as we know, choose to channel this emotion towards something negative. And as I have mentioned, it's a choice that you alone get to make. And as it is expected, whatever choice you make, whether good or bad, there will be a corresponding effect or a consequence. Envy is another emotion that makes a lot of people generally feel uncomfortable to address. I know envy and jealousy are sort of used interchangeably to mean one or the other, but envy is a lot more to do with the feeling one has to possess what the other has. While jealousy is about a fear of losing something that you already have. Both emotions stem from a point of vulnerability, especially when you are experiencing jealousy, while envy comes from a point of misdirected ambition. When you grow up and you are constantly being told by society that wanting something else or wanting something that belongs to another is wrong, and you are never told how to handle or deal with those emotions when they do come, because believe me, they will come. That is unavoidable. When these emotions do surface and you don't know what to do with them and how to respond or react to them, you might either end up reacting in ways that will eventually produce an outcome that does not serve you at all, or produce an outcome that is not positive for you or might harm others around you. And if you think that's bad, well, the worst case scenario would be you end up suppressing these emotions so that you no longer acknowledge them, and that will not work in your favor, because when these unresolved experiences are ignored long enough, they go under into your subconscious, and that results in a whole different ballgame. These ignored experiences will run your subconscious, and you won't even understand why your life sucks or why your life just doesn't make sense at all. It's because you keep pushing things in there that shouldn't even be there. And these things are now in charge of creating your present reality. When you ignore these emotions for so long, because the longer you ignore and stop acknowledging them, what you have now done is the same as disabling your notifications from popping up on your phone, on the front screen of your phone. You won't know if you have received an urgent email. You won't know if your friend is texting you. You pretty much will not be aware of anything because you have disabled your notifications. Same as with your emotions, things can be happening all around you and your body will just not respond. It will not be able to pick up anything around you. You won't have a clue of the type of friends you have surrounded yourself with, for instance. You won't sense if the people that you value don't value you the same. You won't even know if you are being used or misused by the people around you. You might even stop being ambitious. The point I'm trying to make is you generally won't have a clue of what is going on around you because you're emotionally blind. All the emotions that were actually there to protect you and keep you informed and act as a safeguard have long been disabled by you. Now, let's understand envy. Why do we experience the emotion envy in the first place? In what way does envy serve you, and how can you express it to get a positive experience from it? I need you to detach from the belief that envy is bad and evil, because it is not. Think of the emotion envy as a guide or a nudge towards a potential opportunity for a possible future. You are only envious towards a situation or an opportunity in which you genuinely believe should be yours or is yours or it should belong to you. This is where I want you to understand that feeling that way is not bad. It's actually normal. There is nothing wrong with having an ambition. Nothing wrong at all. For instance, you meet someone who is a perfect embodiment of someone you could potentially be in the near future, or who is an ideal replica of your potential future self. Your intuition or your spirit or whatever you choose to believe knows. It knows that this is the direction you should follow. But you yourself don't have a clue. How do you then think is the best way for your spirit or your body or your inner man to tell you, buddy, this is it. This is the path we must take. This is us. This is who we are meant to be in the future. If we follow this same path, this could be us. We need to follow this. We must act. It is through envy. Those little subtle envious feelings that you feel towards a work colleague when they get a promotion, a sibling, your partner, or even your own child. Don't be embarrassed. There's nothing bad about it. It's just a sign. It is how your own body communicates with you through your emotions that you and this person you are feeling envious towards are on the same path and you are to go in the same direction. This is a sign pulling you towards them that pretty much means your paths are linked or your paths are similar. And there's nothing malicious about that emotion at all. It is as innocent as it gets. However, because people don't know that, people are not aware of that, and this is the general way people look at things in a world where resources appear to be so limited. We are almost pitted against each other at all levels. It's laughable. It is only expected to assume that in order for me to win, someone has to lose. Just like the displacement theory in chemistry, where you lose an electron, I gain an electron. What if I was to tell you that is not actually the reality of things? No one has to be displaced for you to win. In order for you to be promoted, no one has to be demoted or lose their job for you to get your moment of glory. People have had roles created from thin air just for them to get accommodated and be promoted. No one had to lose their job for them to win. There is room for all of us to win in so many ways than you can even realize or imagine. No one has to lose in order for you to win. If the attitude we hold towards these emotions that we label as bad and unpleasant were changed or altered, as people, we would actually use these emotions to our benefit and have our emotions work to benefit us instead of misunderstanding our own emotions. And in turn, our emotions work against us. Anger is a normal emotional reaction towards any sign of danger directed towards us, whether be it directly or indirectly. Our body is alerting us that a boundary has been crossed. Please take the necessary action to respond. How then are you going to react? Is your reaction going to be constructive or is it going to be destructive? That will depend on your personal choice, of course. If someone has a job position that you want, how are you going to respond to the envy you slowly feel rising up? Are you going to sabotage them? Are you going to badmouth them to the boss? Or are you now going to have the motivation to even work harder? Use them as an inspiration, as a guide, because now you know for sure that if you put in the work and take the necessary actions and necessary steps, that this is going to be you or something even better. Who is to know, really? We can all be winners in our own world. Resources are endless. We need to stop fighting for scraps because that is what we are actually fighting over now. Scraps. And before I forget, jealousy is just a fear of loss, a deep sense of insecurity, because you are so clearly attached to whatever it is that you have that you don't imagine losing it. and the possibility of losing it drives you mad. The emotion can be crippling if unchecked. So is everything, really, to be fair. Because you are so consumed, you also stop thinking rationally. The moment you start experiencing the emotion of jealousy, that is your body saying to you, whatever it is you're holding on to, you need to relax your grip. You need to relax your grip you have on it. Because if you do not, you will eventually lose it. Why? Well, because you don't deserve it. Well, not anymore. That's why you're holding on to it like your whole life depends on it. When you know it doesn't, even though at the time it might seem like it does. And how do I know that it doesn't really matter as much as you think it does? Because when you eventually lose it, of which you might lose it in most cases if you don't let go, it's almost like the powers that be or the universe is proving to you that, look, you can live without it after all, because we've just took it away and you are here after all. It's like it's trying to prove a point. When you experience jealousy, remind yourself that this is a warning. That is when your response is to either release your grip on whatever it might be you're obsessing over, or you face the risk of it being taken away from you, entirely your call. Once again, thank you for watching, and I hope you find this video helpful. And as always, stay safe. God bless.